One of the biggest mistakes that psychics make is they think that once they enter their holy state, their higher state, that everything that they receive is going to be correct and valuable and for this time to be it's to be shared. This is not true. Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel once again. Today we are going to go back to a previous video that I made called The Magicians of Mu. It's a 2-hour lecture that's actually from my premium site that I just posted on YouTube for you guys, and then 1 hour of question and answer. So I love going into the comment section and connecting with you guys, and you are so incredible. The stories and memories that you shared about Mu were so incredible and so beautiful, and it was really amazing to see all of these different people from different backgrounds, from different places of the world, have such similar memories of Mu and such similar psychic experiences of that time themselves. And that's why I love the comment section of my videos, is that we are such an incredible community. So I want to go in now and I want to answer some of your questions that you have posted for me in the comment section. This first question is a very good question, and it has a lot of likes, and it is from John Smith. I've actually answered it in detail in this video already, but I want to just go over it with you here in case you've missed it. So John Smith asked, how does one know when one is good enough or adept enough to initiate or initiated enough to trust one's own psychic information? I mean, how does one know when one is properly anchored into the higher planes and not anchored into the false light? Is it about the quality of information and discernment and sensing the energy of beings one might interact with? Yes, absolutely. All of those things. And if you're a new intuitive, I think that when you start diving into psychic development, it can be an extremely challenging position for you, because there's this desire to open yourself to your higher self, to click into your higher mind where you can download information very quickly. And it's really through our psychic self that we connect with our genius, okay? Or as, you know, Jung and the great philosophers called our daemon. This is where our genius is, when we can flip into that higher gear in our mind and channel really pure, creative, unique information. That's called our genius. And our genius coming into us is actually a spiritual and psychic experience. So this is not just, psychic development is not just about, can I open my third eye and peer into another planet, another world, or myself in another life? It's really so much more integrated into our life than that. It is really, how do you get unstuck? How do you get out of ruts? Well, you have to increase the amount of chi or prana, or level out the prana in your body in a more cohesive way that's feeding you, so you're not going through highs and lows. Really, it is our intuition development and our spiritual development that really brings us into such a harmony on the mundane levels of our life that it allows us to get through anything, and it allows us to really live our best life. We really are not going to be living our best life in the most mundane, simplest way unless we are truly understanding how our energy works and how our consciousness works. It's just not possible unless we understand that. So that leads us to this intimidation we feel when we think about, like, oh my God, I want to do this, but like I also hear that like it's dangerous. You know, there's these lower astral entities or entities from these demonic realms, false light beings that can trick me and interact with me where I think I'm getting information, but it's really of a lower spectrum. And that's really intimidating because we don't like that feeling of loss of control or lack of control. It's actually one of the most destabilizing things we can experience. And in my earlier days, I remember being very, very afraid of possession, and The Exorcist scared the pants off me. And I was so frightened of my psychic abilities and just all of this. I was so fascinated by it and I was so drawn to it. But at the same time, I was so intimidated by it. And so I completely understand this position. So I want to give you a few tips. The first tip is that it is imperative as a psychic, as a developing psychic, to understand that all of the information that you receive is not going to be necessarily good information or information that's coherent, or even information that's coming from a higher place. One of the biggest mistakes that psychics make is they think that once they enter their holy state, their higher state, that everything that they receive is going to be correct and valuable and for this time to be it's to be shared. This is not true. Humans are fallible. Humans make mistakes, and especially if you're working psychic where you have a schedule and this is your bread and butter, or it's something, or you have a really stressful life, even if you're not a working psychic and you're just developing it. You can get in lower states of consciousness that are really not coherent as some of the higher states you can learn to develop. But it's very difficult to discern this in the beginning. You have to really practice for longer periods of time to intimately know what your higher vibrational frequencies feel like compared to your lower vibrational frequencies that you can have. So what this means is that even as a professional intuitive, you may not be aware of exactly the condition of your consciousness, especially because we're always cycling through these various different energies. Cosmic alignments are happening, the sun is changing, and there's all this different kind of change that's going on already in our lives that is just on an energetic level that is meant to grow us, but can also change our the quality and condition of our mind over time. So we have to, as psychics, to understand that information may have to rest for a while in something that I call the experimental phase. The experimental phase is what we do with information that may feel a little different than what we're used to. So it may be something that feels like it may be connected into your lower ego. It may be something that is completely stroking your ego, that's making you feel like you're better than others. It may be just new information, a new frequency that's coming out to you that you've never really sensed before. Now, new guides do come into your life, but you may have to leave all of the information that they give you and all of that and all of that data in something that's called the experimental phase. The experimental phase is basically when you take the psychic information that you've received and you just let it lie. You let it rest in your body. Just like you corked a bottle of wine and you just let that baby rest. Okay, you just let it rest. Just let the air at it, let it flow, let it just see what it's made out of. Because the thing about intuition development is that the intuitive messages we receive are actually alive. That's right. They are energy and they are alive. And they are going to interact with your energy in a very specific way over time. So what that means is that once you get a channeled message from your guides, and it's going to go into your being, into your consciousness, into your body. And it is going to start unfolding and working with everything that you are. It's going to start enmeshing. In my Inner Mystic series, we talk about enmeshing. It's going to start enmeshing with your consciousness and working with it. It's alive. And so in this experimental phase, we don't necessarily believe the information right away. We just sort of say, this is interesting. This is new. This is a bit weird. I question this information. So I'm going to let it lie. And I'm just going to let it enmesh with who I am. I'm going to be objective. I'm not going to believe everything that's coming through. I'm going to let my higher self enmesh with this. And it will let me know whether this is true. Because what happens is that intuitive information will start to interact with your higher self, okay? And it will reckon. And if you have a good meditation practice and you have a lifestyle where you are constantly trying to be more harmonious and more balanced, then what will happen is your frequency will be very high, and any information that is not for you, that could be from the false light, that could be from a lower spectrum of consciousness trying to get in, that information is going to fall away. Because it's alive and it's trying to take root, and, you know, the stream is trying to take root in your consciousness to speak through you, right? That's one way you could look at it. And if it's not high enough frequency, if it's not truly where it should be, and your spirit guides will work with you too. They will remove that attachment. They will remove that energy from you. As you're working psychic, you learn to work with your guides in such a way where they are protectors. And they will absolutely remove these streams from you as well. But they can't do that if you keep engaging with them. You know, if you automatically just want to speak every message you receive and you're not discerning it, and you just think that everything that comes into your consciousness is a spirit guide, and you have no filter, you have no discernment, then you're going to forge a deeper and deeper and deeper connection with perhaps streams of consciousness that are of the false light, that really are not in your best interest, or client's best interest, or really the world's best interest for you to go and share. So this experimental phase is very, very, very important. It's very important. Any information that you feel feels different than your spirit guides, any new entities that come in that want to communicate with you, any new streams of information where the visuals or the feelings that you're getting are, it feels like it's pulling you in a different direction. It feels like it's pulling you in a weird direction. You want to leave that in the experimental zone, in the experimental place where you do not speak it into the world. You do not fully engage with it. You can ask this, you can ask questions and say, where is this from? You know, or what is this trying to say? You can still do a little bit of prying with it, but you don't want to affirm it by speaking the messages, by really believing it. You want to remain that little bit of objectivity. You can even watch it. You can even watch any visuals you get from a stream. But the key here is that you're not investing in it as though it is an authority. You can watch streams of information come in as a psychic. You can observe an entity that's coming into the room. You can observe all different types of psychic phenomena, of interdimensional phenomena that's going on, and you don't have to engage with it. You don't have to merge with it, to join with it. You don't have to do that. You can actually train yourself to just be an objective observer with your energy purely cycling in yourself, okay? So this experimental phase is something that I do all the time. I'm very, very mindful of what I want to put out here with you guys, and just what I want to build and what I want to invest in. So I will leave whole swaths of information in an experimental phase. I will leave it just in my consciousness to unravel and unfold further before I begin to before I begin to teach it, before I begin to interact with it in a serious way, before I begin to respect it. And there have been times where I felt like, you know, the stream was good, the information was good, but it was actually something, it was actually a pain within me, or something within me that was tainting the stream. So the stream was beautiful, it was good, it was amazing information, it was gorgeous, but it was actually my lower state, something that I was going through that was actually tainting good information. And that happens too. You can actually have good information, and then because your energy isn't pure enough, you can project things. And that's why psychic work is a lifelong, it's really a lifelong dance in mystery. And you just have to learn how to dance with it the best that you can. But absolutely one of the things that every psychic will have to go through is discerning whether information is from the false light, or if it is of the holy light, or the whole light. I'm going to go more and more into false light actually in a workshop I'm planning for the spring. So go ahead and sign up for my newsletter if you want to get into the nitty-gritty details of this. I will be holding an online weekend workshop that's going to be about the false light, and really nailing down everything about it that we possibly can, so that we can really develop spiritually, psychically, in a way that we feel confident and comfortable about. But I'll tell you right now, it is every psychic's initiation to, at some point or various points in their experience, connect with different false light beings. And the false light, just to clarify it a little bit here, the false light is the name for the lower astral realm, or what many would call the chaos realms, or what sometimes people call the demonic realms, which is the light is false there because the light is stolen and kind of regurgitated, because the lower astral realm functions parasitically and they're vampiric. And so all of the light that they produce is secondhand. And that means it's false. And the light, that kind of light, and light is information, feels very different than the higher density light that is not false, but is purely generated. And it completely connects into your body differently than false light does. But it does take time to learn the difference between the both. And there could be patches within your heart and soul where, or times in your life where it's very difficult for you to tell the difference between them, which is why this experimental phase will never do you wrong. It'll never do you wrong. If you're ever wondering about information, just let it lie. Let it lie, and make sure that you are specifically doing things to raise your vibes. You're listening to music that you enjoy, you're eating healthy, you're exercising, you're meditating, and you're keeping yourself in a high harmonic. And if that information is not for you, it will fall away, because it cannot sustain a lower light, the false light. That lower astral plane cannot coexist with higher vibrational frequencies. It's physics. It's metaphysics. So if you're ever worried about information, it's all about that experimental phase. Don't be afraid to put that information aside within you. Let it lie and let it decode, let it transform and show you what it really is, because it's alive. Information is alive. These streams of information that we receive psychically are alive. They are connecting us with our higher self. They are connecting us with our guides, and they are pure life force energy. They are alive. So they will interact with your mind. They will interact with your body. They will interact with you as though it's a live energy. So you can do psychic alchemy, where you can hold that new stream that you're feeling against a very high frequency that you create yourself. And if it is not of that frequency, you will begin to get visions or feelings or knowings that say, oh, okay, this stream is not something that I want to speak into the world. It's not something that I want to get out there. Or you can say, okay, this theme felt experimental to me, or it felt new to me because a new aspect of my being is unfolding. I've been doing a lot of work and I'm going through a spiritual initiation where I'm meeting a new guide, or my consciousness is expanding and I'm receiving more streams of energy. And you may be able to feel very strongly that, you know, after letting it breathe, that this is what's going on. And then you can so confidently go into your development phase with that new stream of information. And every psychic will have certain streams that they connect to, and these streams are often connected to your spirit guides. And you're also going to be introduced to new streams, especially if you are a teaching psychic, especially if you are a psychic who is a YouTuber, especially if you are a psychic that is dealing with information, if you're claircognizant, right? If you're going into those realms, being introduced to various different streams and ideas is going to be very natural for you. So I love this question on this video. I hope you enjoyed this. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, share this video with all of your friends who are also developing psychically. Let's get it going. And as always, all my love and light.